$10,072,000 guaranteed. A Chicago Bears player just got locked in, and RAPOPORT confirmed it this Monday. 49 games, 49 starts, 2 All-Pro teams in 2025. Only 2 games missed in his entire professional career. This man is pure iron in navy and orange, and Ryan Poles just made sure he is not going anywhere until at least 2027. The silent weapon that gives Caleb Williams the pocket time to carve up any defense in the NFC secured. And while that is happening inside Halas Hall, there is an edge rusher the Bears were quietly chasing, Kayvon Thibodeau, and that door just slammed shut, which means Poles arrives at Thursday's draft with a different kind of urgency and with picks loaded to execute a plan very few people saw coming. But what nobody in the Windy City is talking about yet is the move that could shake up the entire backfield before the weekend even starts. DeAndre Swift, almost $7 million on the table, the tightest cap situation in the entire NFL, and a name Daniel Jeremiah just forced into the conversation. That changes everything in Chicago. If you trust the Ryan Poles process, hit that like button right now and join the real Bear Nation. This is just getting started. Okay, let's start with what matters most today. RAPOPORT confirmed it this Monday. The Chicago Bears are picking up the 5th-year option on Darnell Wright. That means Wright is locked in Chicago at least through the 2027 season. And if you think this is just some routine NFL paperwork, you need to understand exactly what kind of player we're talking about. Darnell Wright was the 10th overall pick in the 2023 draft. He was the first-round pick in Ryan Poles' history as a general manager, and in 3 years, this man has done everything asked of him, and then some. Second-team All-Pro in 2025. 49 games played, 49 games started, only 2 missed games in his entire professional career. 2, that is not just availability, fam, that is iron. Now let's talk about the tactical context, because this is where it gets really good. The offensive line is the oxygen of any Ben Johnson system. There is no elite offense without elite protection. Full stop. And wait, I don't say that. Let me keep it a buck with you. No offensive system works without the big guys up front doing their job. Last year, we watched Caleb Williams make a generational leap at quarterback, and a huge part of that comes down to the pocket time this line gave him. Wright at right tackle doesn't just protect Caleb's extended blind side on rollouts, he also opens running lanes to the right side that give this offense the ability to attack the entire field. When you have a tackle who can dominate in both pass protection and run blocking, you hand your offensive coordinator near unlimited freedom to design the offense, and Ben Johnson knows exactly how to use it. Now the contract numbers with the 5th-year option exercised, Wright is set to make $19,072,000 guaranteed for the 2027 season. That is the final year of his rookie deal. And here's the part I think is most interesting. That number is calculated as an offensive lineman without a Pro Bowl appearance. If Wright had made the Pro Bowl in 2025, which, honestly, with his tape, you could make that argument, that number would have been over $4 million higher. Bro, the NFL's compensation formula is something else, but that's a conversation for another video. What really matters right now is what comes after 2027. Because Poles is not thinking 1 year out, he is thinking in full cycles. Wright is 24 years old, Caleb Williams is 23. The structure of this offense is being built to last. If Poles extends Wright before the 2027 season, he negotiates from a position of relative power. The market for elite tackles is only going up, and locking Wright in now or with an extension in the next few months could be one of the best long-term moves this organization has ever made. And there's one more thing I need to say because it matters beyond the contract, the cultural impact. Darnell Wright is the first-round pick of the Poles era. Retaining him, protecting him contractually, believing in him, that sends a message to the entire locker room. It says this organization rewards excellence. It says if you show up, if you produce, if you are an elite professional, Chicago is going to take care of you. That is culture, and culture wins championships. Bear down, Darnell. You are exactly the kind of player the Bears needed to anchor this line, and you are here to stay. Okay, we talked about the bright side of the day. Now let's talk about the frustrating side. Although if you actually think about it, maybe it is not as bad as it looks. Ian Rapoport also reported today that the New York Giants are no longer as willing to move their edge defender, and after the massive deal that sent Dexter Lawrence to the Cincinnati Bengals, the cap situation and roster structure in New York changed overnight. The same sources who were talking about Thibodeau as a trade candidate are now saying it is, quote, unlikely, not impossible, but unlikely. And this matters for the Bears because, listen, Chicago already confirmed they checked in on Max Crosby before that trade fell apart too. Ryan Poles is actively hunting for pass rush. That is not a secret. The Bears finished 27th in quarterback pressure rate in 2025, 27th and 25th in total pressures. In the NFC, where quarterbacks can carve you apart if you give them time, that cannot happen again. Now look, would Thibodeau have been the perfect answer? Look, I could be wrong, but I would say no, at least not as a long-term solution. In 2023, he showed real flashes, 11.5 sacks, 12 tackles for loss, 3 forced fumbles. When he is healthy and motivated, he can cause serious damage off the edge, but that's exactly the problem. When he is healthy, he only played 10 games in 2025, only 2.5 sacks in a year, where he needed to prove he was more than just potential. And on top of that, he is walking into the final year of his contract at nearly $15 million guaranteed. That is a lot of money for a player you are not sure is going to be on the field every Sunday. What does catch my eye, and here is the technical angle, is that Thibodeau had an 80.7 run defense grade from Pro Football Focus in 2025. That is 7th best among all edge rushers in the league. So even when he was not generating elite pressure, he was still a disciplined factor in the run game that has real value. But for a Bears team that needs someone disrupting quarterback plans consistently, week in and week out, that alone is not enough. And look, if the trade was falling apart anyway, Poles is in the right spot. He did not give up picks for a player who may or may not show up. And now every bit of his attention shifts to the draft, which kicks off Thursday, April 23rd at 8 p.m. Eastern. With the 25th overall pick in the first round, the Bears have real options. Zion Young out of Missouri already had a pre-draft visit with Chicago. That is not a coincidence. Beat reporters like Brad Biggs have also connected the Bears to Keldrick Falk out of Auburn, and if the first round doesn't deliver the perfect edge rusher, they still have pick 57 in the second round with names like Mason Thomas out of Oklahoma, Gabe Jacas out of Illinois, or Malachi Lawrence out of UCF waiting there. Fam, there are paths. Multiple paths, and Poles knows every single one of them. And let's close with something that is floating in the air but hasn't been confirmed yet, and that is exactly why it is worth talking about right now. Daniel Jeremiah over at NFL Network made an observation that should get every Bears fan's attention. He said the running back class in this draft is, in his own words, incredibly shallow. There is a clear number one, Jeremiah Love out of Notre Dame, and then a massive drop-off after him. What Jeremiah is saying is that if teams don't fill their need at running back during the draft, they are going to go looking for veterans on the trade market, and that directly opens the door for DeAndre Swift. Now, to be clear, there are no concrete rumors that the Bears are moving Swift, but the logic is there. Swift is entering the final year of his contract. The Bears have the lowest cap space in the entire NFL, $219,000, $219,000. That is basically nothing. Fam, and if they trade Swift without absorbing his deal, they free up nearly $7 million in exchange for probably a 4th-round pick. Not a heist, but real value. And the reason this conversation is even possible is Kyle Monangai, the 7th-round pick from 2025 that nobody saw coming. 947 scrimmage yards in his rookie year, 783 on the ground, 5 touchdowns, 4.6 yards per carry. And all of that after he didn't really get going until week 7. Monangai passed every test they put in front of him. That kid is ready to be the lead back if the Bears decide to go that direction. The problem, as always, is in the details. If they move Swift, they need depth. Roshan Johnson is not the answer as the RB2. They could take someone in day 3 of the draft, but that is a risk. And the veterans available in free agency, Najee Harris, Joe Mixon, Austin Eckler, all of them are coming off serious injuries. There are options, but there are no guarantees. So the most likely scenario is that Poles waits. He sees what happens over the course of the draft, and if by the end of the weekend there is a team out there desperate for a back who could contribute immediately, Swift leaves Chicago with value, and the Bears keep cap space and hand the backfield to Monangai. Look, today was a day of moves that build the future. Wright locked in, Caleb's protection secured, the Thibodeau trade that wasn't, but that confirms Poles is still hunting hard for pass rush before Thursday, and Swift floating on the horizon as a decision that could define the 2026 roster before the season even starts. The draft is 3 days away, and the Bears are walking into it hungry. With picks and with a plan, I trust Poles, I trust this process, and Thursday at 8 p.m., I will be right here with you covering every single pick in real time. If this breakdown hit for you, drop a like and subscribe. This channel runs on the love of real Bears fans. And tell me down in the comments, what position do you think Poles attacks first on Thursday? Edge rusher, DT, or something nobody saw coming? See you in the next one. Bear down.